with that, let's bring in Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council. Tony, good evening. Good to have you with us.
Thanks.
We have the Pence book coming out tomorrow. Former President Trump also expected to announce his 2024 bid. Do you think this timing is a coincidence?
Who knows? I think the president, former President Donald Trump's trying to be back in the news cycle. I don't know where that's going to go, his announcement. I think a lot of the focus right now is on who's going to control the House of Representatives. The Senate appearing to be decided over the weekend. People want to know, are we going to have Republicans in control of the House of Representatives or not? I think that's the focus.
No. You know, there a lot of finger pointing going on with last week's midterm election. A lot of people blaming President Trump, saying that he backed candidates who they didn't support. Your thoughts on that, Tony? Who gets the blame here?
Well, I mean, look, I think first off, there'll be time to do assessments of this, and I do think there was some candidates that were a little weak, that were artificially pumped up in the primaries, and I think maybe those were some of the ones that Donald Trump supported. But look, I think right now it's not a time for the Republicans to be taking shots at one another. I think we need to, how do we go forward? How do we address the crisis situation that the Biden administration, their policies have created? I'm very optimistic, been on the phone today talking with members of the House of Representatives, Republican members, as they try to chart a path forward to try to provide checks and balances to the Biden administration. It's going to be one chamber that's going to really have to hold the line against these policies.
So Republicans, they have underperformed, of course, in the midterms. Conservative school board members, though, were overwhelmingly elected across the country, Tony. What do you make of that?
You know, it's good news. It's certainly good news, but it's troubling to. I'm still having a hard time trying to figure out, because generally speaking, down ballot races do not outperform the upper ballot, the top of the ballot, and so there's some things that just do not add up. And I think one of the things that we have to talk about after this election is how we're conducting elections. Election day has turned into election month. I mean, we're still counting ballots, or waiting for those ballots to come in from places like California. I mean, we still have some districts in California where slightly over half of the votes have been counted. I mean, we're one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world, but yet we can't hold our elections in a timely manner. We've got to address these things.
As for the Democrats' agenda on the Hill, Tony, as President Biden enters the lame duck portion of his term, the president said today that Democrats' objectives of codifying Roe is out. What about issues like codifying same-sex marriage or even funding the government with a short-term spending bill set to expire next month?
Big concerns. I think Senator Schumer, the Democratic leader in the Senate, has said that he's going to push forward with this so-called Respect for Marriage Act, which is a huge threat to religious freedom. This would essentially give a green light to those who want to persecute people of faith. And so now is the time for people to weigh in with their United States senators. And I would encourage them to give them a phone call even now. The Capitol switchboard number is 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121, because their two senators need to hear from this, because this is a real threat. This Respect for Marriage Act is a real threat to religious liberty.
Okay, Tony Perkins on tonight.